Today I have two very special guests, two full-time eBay sellers, and of course, I could tell you who they are, but I'm gonna let them do it.
Yeah, I'm Ben. Ready Set Resale is my handle on Instagram, and now on YouTube. I started my YouTube back up, but I'm a full-time reseller. I started reselling back when I was in college as an extra source of income, and while I was in the National Guard, and then I got my degree and everything. But I wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted the luxury of having my own schedule so I could travel more. So I kind of jumped in head first into the reselling game, and been
How
there ever
long?
since.
How long you been doing it?
So officially full time, just about 2 years now.
Okay, and how much are your sales right now? Cause I think you sent me a screenshot of your 60 days, right?
Yeah, so my sales on my one eBay account are around uh I have one account that does around 10K a month, and then one account that does a little less, and that's the one that I have like the wholesale orders and stuff on. But I'm also in places like Amazon, Mercari, Poshmark, all kinds of places, Etsy.
There you go. And Drew, tell us about yourself. What you got going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Drew. I just started up my YouTube channel and I opened up a new Instagram page with my new brand is Profit Monsters. So I'm pretty excited about that. But my Instagram is Drew Thrifts and Flips. So I started just by going thrift stores and flipping stuff on eBay. So that's kind of where I got the name for that. But I've been full-time reselling specifically on eBay for about 2 months. But I've been flipping cars from Craigslist, and I do Poshmark and eBay and all sorts of stuff. Uber, I do it all. I've done everything. I've owned my own businesses for over the last 10 years.
There you go. That's what's up. So the very first eBay question is, what's the order, that one order where you lost the most money? Because I made a video about my little journey. I had to ship a big globe, which cost about $60. All lost, man. How about you, Ben? What's the
Uh,
biggest loss you've ever had?
so I think my biggest loss that I ever had was actually it was a loss and it was a gain. But it was a Nakamichi stereo set. I bought it for around $50 at a yard sale. I flipped it for 750. But on the way to the buyer, the package got damaged and was clearly damaged, like really damaged, like boxes tore open and stuff falling out. It was really bad.
What happened? You think somebody tried stealing it?
I don't know what happened, but luckily my buyer was like super cool about it, and he sent me the pictures of the damage on the box and everything. And while yeah, I had to refund him the money and then get it shipped back to me and stuff like that, so I lost out on it was probably $60 to ship there and back, so it's $120. So I got burned on that. But luckily the buyer was nice and took pictures of the damage and stuff, so I was able to submit that to USPS for a insurance claim, because anything over $200 I'll buy a insurance for the packaging and the postage. So I got my money back there, and then once I got the unit back, I actually was able to sell the unit for parts at that point. So I kind of double dipped there and got an extra profit on top of it. But that would, if I wouldn't have got those pictures from him, that definitely would have been my biggest burn, because I would have been out 750 plus shipping.
You know what? I would have just considered that a loss. I would have never thought to go to the USPS and be like, "Yo, give me a refund."
Oh yeah, and as long as you have the documentation to like prove that it was damaged and that you packaged it correctly, because you could clearly see all the bubble wrap and everything in the pictures and everything. And they knew I didn't send it like that, because they wouldn't accept a package like that. It was just super cool that I had a buyer that worked with me on that one. But that definitely would have been my biggest one.
Drew, so what's the biggest order you lost the most money on?
Oh man, well today was a terrible eBay day for me.
No.
Yeah, I actually just recorded a video before I got on with you guys that I'm uploading to YouTube right now, where I had like just a bunch of mistakes on my part that I made on eBay stuff, where like I had a couple of things that had like some damage on them, that I sent pictures and they asked for refunds that I hadn't noticed when I made the listing, and it was really small stuff, but I'd rather do the refund before I ship it out and take the loss on the shipping. So today was a rough day, but the biggest thing, man, I've actually been pretty lucky so far. I haven't had any huge losses, but I bought this huge lot of vintage cameras from a garage sale for $100, and there must have been 15 or 16 different cameras, like with original like manuals and packages and the covers for the cameras and the lenses and everything.
And you thought big paycheck right there.
So the first camera I sold on eBay, I sold it for $850. It was this Raleigh Flex super nice camera, and I had actually listed it as the wrong model. And then when it got to the buyer, the one of the lenses had like some type of fungus growing on it or something. I guess that's really common with old cameras.
Yeah,
And I
getting
didn't know
inside the
anything.
lens.
Yeah, I didn't even know anything about that. So luckily, just like Ben, I had a really cool buyer. And instead of him immediately requesting a refund, he had told me he knows a guy that can fix it, and it would be like 150 to $200 to fix. And I told him, well, I'll give you $80, and split the difference with you of the 150. And he was cool with it, and he took it. So I gave him a refund of $80. But I mean, I still made so much profit that it was like 10% was the loss there of the sale. But overall, I've actually had to really stop selling the cameras and go through them because I sold one camera for $75 and I had to do a full refund on it, and they never even sent me the camera back because
Wait, why'd you have to do a refund?
the camera was the shutter wasn't working. So when I don't know anything about cameras really, I just bought the lot and listed them. They look pristine on the outside, but I guess the shutter wasn't working or something like that, and they never sent me the camera back. So I'm trying to get that. I lost.
You're going through that right now?
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
Man, Ben, what would you do in this situation?
I mean, I think you had it on point. Just trying to talk it out with your customer is always the best solution. Usually customers are pretty cool. You get the one every now and then that's like the monster customer who starts hurling names and stuff at you. But even then, you got to just keep it professional. And as long as you have all the documentation and stuff, eBay usually will have your back. And especially if they're refusing to send the package back, you shouldn't have to give them a refund if they're not sending the package back.
You know what? I had a cool customer as well. I was selling apparel first, and there was a stain on the shirt. I took a picture of it, but when the customer got the shirt, he goes, "Hey, can I get a refund? Because there was a stain on the sleeve." And pretty much, I gave him a full refund. Here's the thing: I think we're all in the same mentality where customer service. Don't fight with your customer, and if they ask for a refund, give them the refund. Because I feel like, yes, you lost money, but it's not worth losing your rating, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ben, what's your rating at right now? Do you know?
I can pull it up real fast.
And Drew?
I only have one negative on my account right now. On my one account.
You have one negative?
I have one negative and 4 neutral on my one account, and that's almost 1,000 orders.
Wait, so is that one negative, that one monster customer?
No, actually, the negative just happened last week, and it was a Dooney and Burke purse that I shipped out to her, and she got it, and she said, "This isn't what I was expecting. It's a used purse." I guess she thought it was new or something. But were you going to get a new Dooney and Burke purse for $20? Like,
yeah, anyways. Especially on eBay, right?
Yeah, I know, but she didn't take kindly to being a used item or whatever. And I was like, "Look, you can send it back. I'll give you a full refund." She's like, "I already threw it away. Give me my money back." I was like, "Give me my product back and I'll give it back in nicer terms."
Yeah.
And she didn't like that. And then I haven't heard back from her since she left the negative feedback. So
that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? What's your rating like?
Right now I'm pretty much 100% positive, except one neutral, which really just bothers me because I try to be really honest with every eBay listing I do, and that's why like the bad day that I had today, like I said, I'm turning it into a positive and learning from it with the mistakes and everything. But it was a Hot Wheels car, a Matchbox car that I had sold, and she paid for priority mail, so it was shipped in one of those small priority mail boxes, and I had put it, I think, in a Ziploc bag and then wrapped it up a little bit, and she just basically left me a neutral feedback saying it wasn't packaged as well as she would have liked it.
My god.
You should like on my neutrals, none of them are like awful neutrals. It's just like not bad is the comment they left, or one of them's like A+ seller. I'm like, well, if I'm an A+ seller, why do I get a neutral? You know, but I mean,
Yeah.
those are just the kind of, they're not, neutrals aren't like detrimental to your account when, especially if you have like thousands of feedback, you know, over 1,000 feedback like I do. It's not going to hurt that much, but yeah, you want to keep your rating up as high as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
So
right though. That customer service for me is so important because my eBay store is so new that like, you know, I've got I think 40 something feedback right now from, you know, 125 sales. So from that eBay store. So everything counts for me right now because someone is more likely to buy from someone like Ben with over 1,000 feedback than from me with only 45, you know, feedback reviews. So I have to have everything be, you know, super, you know, on point.
and you know what, Drew? You're absolutely right. Even myself, when I shop on Amazon, like even if two people are selling the same exact thing, I'm gonna go with the guy who has the better rating and more. Even if his is more expensive, that rating, man, talks for
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a peace of mind for a lot of people.
Yeah. And okay, so we're talking about, you know, how much money you lost. We talked about some bad customers. Let's say someone's trying to grow their eBay business. They're brand new to the game. What tips would you give them to grow and hopefully make eBay a full-time income like you guys? Drew?
Um, Man, there are so many things, but really I would say the first couple things are, you know, to do not be afraid. And then the other thing I would tell people probably is just start with what you know. Like if you like wearing Sperry boat shoes or you like wearing Air Jordan Nikes, take some of the shoes that you already have in your closet, you know, and post a couple of those on where you can start with no money up front, you know, or like, you know, things that you have around the house. You know, if you have like I have old Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 that I never play, but I've had them since I was a kid just because it's like, you know, just cool for me to have. But I started just posting some of the games, and one of the games I had sold for $150 within 24 hours. You know what I mean? And I was like, I never even play that game anyway.
Yeah.
Just
So,
start selling stuff that you have with things that you like, hobbies that you're interested in, and you'll see that other people will buy your stuff.
okay, so start with something you already have at home. No
Yeah.
inventory, no startup cash, and hopefully, well, it's not profit because you pay for it, but hey, it's income coming in, right?
Yeah, but back then when I bought that game, I probably paid $5 for it, you know?
Yeah. How
You know,
about
and
you,
I
Ben?
had
Oh, sorry,
No,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Drew.
I'd say that's.
I was
Am I-
just saying that I had that game for a long time, so I got my money's worth.
There you go. How about you, Ben? Any tips for new eBay beginners?
No, I think Drew hit it on the head. Start by selling stuff around the house, get your feet wet, get a feel for how shipping's going and what shipping's like. Get a feel for a little bit of customer interaction. Learn how to do the listings using the keywords and all that kind of stuff, and getting your feet wet in it before you start branching out and trying to invest your money into inventory. But once you do start investing, like he said, scared money doesn't make money. So
Yeah.
if you feel like you have a good product, don't be afraid to test it out. Like if you see the comps are right, if you see that what you're seeing on eBay is reflecting what you're thinking and you got a profit there, don't be scared about taking that chance. And there are plenty of things to start looking for depending on if you're going thrifting for your sourcing or garage sales or online or retail arbitrage. It depends on which way you want to go and what things to begin to look for.
So the next question is, how do you source and where, Ben?
Okay, so yeah, that goes right into it. During the summer, I do a lot of thrift or yard sales and garage sales because people are just wanting to get rid of stuff. It's not, you're not paying the eBay prices. And I mean, I made like this last weekend, I definitely going to make $1,000 profit. I've already made a couple hundred off the stuff I've sold in the last couple of days. And for me, garage sales and yard sales during the summer are better than going to the thrift store. I still go to thrift stores on like the sale days and stuff. That's another tip. Learn your sale days at your thrift stores because paying half off is always better than paying full price.
Does your thrift store have those little tags, like the green tags, 50% off?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like when you go to like the yard, so like I'll give you a few items like in case you are brand new to this. Like if you're at a yard sale and garage sale, some of the things that are in abundance are like the Texas Instrument calculators. Everybody needed one for high school. They flip for good money online. Like if you can get one for like under $10, flip it for 60, 70, pretty easy.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah,
What kind
yeah.
of calculator?
It's a Texas Instrument, like TI-86, TI-87, the TI-87 titanium, silver edition, all that kind of stuff. They flip super, like you buy them one day, you sell them same day. It's
Because
super
college
fast,
students
easy.
need them, right?
Oh yeah, college students, high school students, they're all still mandatory.
All right.
Other items are like ink, like printer ink. Some of it doesn't go for a ton, but some of it goes for like $60. But if you're picking it up for 50 cents a buck, it's all over the place. Video games. Drew mentioned video games. I started out doing video games, and video games are everywhere. Just this past.
Should you focus on the old school video games, or even the new ones will sell?
Oh no, so new ones will sell too. So I'll give you a good example. This past weekend, I said I'll make $1,000 on everything I did. I picked up a whole bin of retro video games, which are like the NES, N64 games. I paid $20 for 60 of them. Some of the games in there alone are worth $50 by themselves. But also this weekend, I also picked up an Xbox One Battlefield Edition, and so that's the newest generation of console. I paid up more for that. I paid $100 for that and some nursing textbooks, but I'll get 160 out of just the console by itself. So
there you go.
There's money everywhere. You just got to learn what to look for.
And what about you, Drew? Where do you source your inventory?
So mainly I go to garage sales. Like Ben was saying, I go to a lot of thrift stores. Mainly just because right now I'm trying to build up my inventory in my eBay store. You know, one of the biggest things, I guess you could call this a tip too, is that, you know, the more inventory you have, the more sales you're going to make. So if you only put 5 items on eBay, you know, it may take a long time to sell one of them depending on what you're trying to sell. So, you know, I'm trying to really grow my inventory. So I'm, you know, where I live, there's no dollar days at Goodwill or anything like that. You know, where a lot of these other YouTubers and thrifters and stuff are going to dollar days. I don't have that. So I try to do the half off like Ben said, but I do go to public auctions too, which is really cool. There's one in my area about an hour away, and I got some really cool stuff. Like I got a Star Trek Millennium Falcon, or I don't know what it was, Star Trek Enterprise or something like that.
Yeah.
It new in the box from like 1992. I paid $2 for it, and I sold it for like $38 on eBay. So like if you go to the auctions, there's a lot of times everybody leaves at the end of the night and they're just trying to get rid of their stuff, and you stay till 11 o'clock or midnight. You can get stuff for $1, $2. And then there's a government auction that's near my house that I go to where you have to bid online, but you can go see it in person. And so I bought this huge lot of clothing from an airport for lost and found stuff that people had left at the airport. And I bought like 9 boxes of clothing, men's, women's. I paid like $700 for it, but I've already like doubled my money on that. I mean, some of the stuff is like name brand, Michael Kors, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, new with tags, stuff that like one shirt has like $100 tag on it. So that was pretty cool.
So pretty much you just have to find your sources. You have to try new things.
I mean, even for me, like Facebook Marketplace, people give stuff away for free all the time on Facebook Marketplace, and I actually have done it for a long time, but Gary Vee talks about that all the time. Like I got 2 Disney phones, a Mickey and a Minnie, like old school, what are they called, dial phones or whatever they are, dial tone phones. I got them for free. Some lady was giving them away. I went on Facebook Marketplace. I messaged her. I picked them up. I sold one of the phones for like almost $50 on eBay, and the other one I have listed for like 30. So I mean, there's free money everywhere.
Yeah, right.
And that's a good point. Being creative about where you're sourcing from, because as you guys probably know, there's competition everywhere, especially if you're in a city. You're going to be dealing with other resellers. Speaking of which, don't think of resellers as like bad competition. Think of them as good competition. Learn to network and stuff, because they might, give you a few nuggets here and there. I've got really good relations with a lot of the resellers in my area, and we're all pretty friendly with each other. But yeah, being creative about where you're getting your items from. My best flip actually came from an auction, like you were saying, my biggest profit item ever. But you don't ever hear YouTubers and stuff mention auctions as much as you do thrifting and everything else.
Hey, well, you already hyped it up. What was the biggest sell?
Okay, so my biggest sell, I've been reselling for about 6 months at that point. I went to an auction and I bought it was a Celestron telescope new in the box, and I bought it for $50 at the auction, and I ended up flipping it for $2,500 plus shipping on eBay.
What?
Yeah, that was my biggest score, that my biggest profit margin wise score that I ever had for a single item.
When you got that telescope, did you know how much it was worth, or you thought, you know what,
Oh,
let me get this?
I'm not afraid to whip out my phone and start looking stuff up. I'm not above that at garage sales. I do it at thrift stores. I do it. People know I'm a reseller. I don't care because I'm the one making money at the end of the day. So,
Yeah. So, do we all have that eBay app on our phones to I heard people use scanners.
yeah. So for like, I used a scanner once. I didn't like it as much, but I was using it for textbooks and looking up books and stuff at thrift stores because it's faster.
Yeah.
But that the book game takes a long time, and now they're raising rates for your storage on the books and everything. So unless it's like textbooks and stuff, I tend to steer away or be iffy on them. But
Mm.
scanners, unless you're doing high volume, you don't need a scanner.
What about you, Drew? Do you agree? Do you use anything or just the eBay app?
Yeah, so I just use the eBay app and then I just look up like if it's a Nike dry fit t-shirt or whatever, I just type that in and then type in, men's small or whatever.
Mm.
And then I try to find something comparable in the solds, and then normally I'll just list it if mine's in better condition around the same price or a little bit lower. Sometimes I try to get greedy with stuff and post it a little higher, because the worst thing probably for me is someone just made a sale probably.
Yep.
The worst thing for me is probably low ballers making offers, because
Oh,
most of
I
my
hate
listings are
those.
buy it now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I use the eBay app. I just search when I'm in Goodwill or I'm at a yard sale, just like Ben. Man, I don't care. People can look at me all they want, but if they don't know what their stuff is worth, then.
Yeah.
Or
Pretty much.
people will say how much it's worth on eBay, and then you say, okay, well, you go post it on eBay. They don't
Yeah.
want it. They want you to do it for them.
Oh, that's a pet peeve, man. Like I've had the Goodwill put like the eBay paper like on top of their item and stuff,
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yes.
you're not taking into account the shipping fees that's built into that. You're not taking into account the eBay and PayPal fees. They don't
Wait,
realize
what do
what
you
it goes
mean?
for on eBay.
What do you mean eBay paper?
They'll like print out
A listing.
the listing on eBay and put it on the item in the Goodwill store, so you know how much it's going for on eBay and that they want that much money for it.
Man, you got some stingy Goodwills
Oh,
over
I
there.
know. It's like one in particular. I have a few that are really good.
Hmm.
I was
I
at a
heard.
store over the weekend and they had a Disney Globe in their little glass case, and they were asking $75 for it, but they had a listing $225 on eBay. And then you scroll down and there's one for 150, for 100, for 75, 50. It is like, okay,
Mm,
you're not going to get 225 for it.
No, that's the
yeah.
thing. They're not printing out the sold listings. They're printing out the highest one they can find, so it makes it look like it's worth a lot more.
But you
Exactly.
know what? I feel like if you're not an eBay seller, you don't focus on the completed listings. You focus on
Okay.
what people are listing it for.
Right.
Hmm.
So here's the question. Why is shipping so hard? Like, man, I had a hard time with it. Who wants to go first?
You want to take it,
Uh,
Drew?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. For me, actually, my wife and I kind of tag team this, which is just really nice for us because she's a stay-at-home mom, so she kind of does a lot of the fulfillment stuff. I started to do it, and I just got really frustrated with it because, like, I was either weighing stuff before I put it in the package, and then it was over a pound, and then you have to ship it priority mail or whatever. But I think you just got to get the system down. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. I think it was like what Ben was saying with Amazon FBA is you just get more used to it. And the first couple times you're like scared you're gonna mess it up. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know if it's gonna fit in the poly mailer that you buy or
Mm.
whatever. And I think that once you start learning the processes, then you start buying the real equipment that you need. You get a scale, you get a label printer, you get what is it like massive amounts of bubble wrap instead of buying small packages at the store, to save on money. And then you just have everything you need instead of when you make a sale, you're like, shoot, I got to go to Walmart and buy another bubble mailer. And then that's when people get, I think, kind of frazzled is they don't have the stuff they need. Like I got my stickers, right here in my drawer for fragile stickers, for my thank you for buying on eBay, my priority mail tape, like all right there. So, but when I first started, I didn't have any of that. And I was literally taking a package, an item outside of the package to USPS, taking a box that they had on the shelf, using their tape, and like doing everything right there on their counter. And I was so embarrassed, and so I had to figure out, how I had to do it so that I wasn't going to USPS and there for an hour, so I could go back to the store and thrift and source more stuff.
And you know what? USPS doesn't make it any easier because they got priority. They got flat rate envelopes.
Yep. Yeah, learn the lingo.
Yep. What about you, Ben? Why is shipping so hard?
I mean, I think it's just hard because people who are just getting into it aren't, like he was saying, aren't used to all the things you need. You need poly mailers. You want to make sure if it's first class, it's under 16 ounces. So you have to make sure that your cardboard box you're using isn't too heavy. You don't want to, double box something that doesn't need double boxing because it'll make it more than 16 ounces.
I made that mistake.
Yeah. So like now I have it down to where I can kind of tell just by the feel of like clothing and stuff like that if it's going to be over 16 ounces and stuff like that. I usually don't weigh my stuff before I list it. I just kind of have it down at that point. Now I can kind of feel what it's going to be. But once you get, the prices, I know right now if I ship first class, it's going to cost me like $5.86 at the most to ship it. And that's if I'm shipping from here to California for me. And that's going to be the most expensive thing. But yeah, all like the supplies, people will be like buying the bubble mailers from like the dollar store, and they're paying like 50 cents for one bubble mailer, but you can decrease that cost by buying in bulk over on Amazon for like $12 and get like 100 of them for pennies on the dollar.
So pretty much just buy stuff that you're gonna need in bulk. Poly bags, bubble wrap. What else do you need? You need a scale. Measuring tape,
yeah, and then make sure you're taking advantage of the USPS's free shipping supplies. You can go right on their website, and then you can have them wholesale sent to you. So I get shipments of like 200 boxes at a time, and put them in my basement, and it's completely free at that point because you're using their supplies. Another thing, if you guys aren't using it, I don't know if you two use it. I just switched over to it about 5 months ago. It's pirateship.com. It's like a third party.
I heard about it.
Yeah, and it's great because like eBay already has like their deal with the post office where you get discounted prices if you go through their app. But Pirate Ship does the same thing, and it has cubic mailing. So you actually get a deeper discount on stuff that's going priority mail. If it's in a smaller box but heavier, you're getting even a bigger discount. So that's great. That's all you do is link your eBay store to Pirate Ship, and you can import all your listings that have sold and print straight from there.
You know what? When people told me about it, I thought it was a scam. Pirate Ship, Pirate Bay.
I did too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I'm not messing with that.
I did my research on it before I even gave because you don't want to like give your eBay account over to something that's going to start taking your stuff, But yeah, it's great. I've been using it for 5 months now, and no problems at all.
How about you, Drew? Did you use USPS only?
I've just been doing shipping through eBay because, like I said, I've been trying to just get my systems down right now. I actually just watched a live stream yesterday of some other resellers who suggested it too. So this is the second time in 2 days. So now I'm gonna really check it out. And I made the mistake of when I first started reselling, when I found out about all the free boxes from USPS, I ordered everything I could, and I made the mistake of not knowing the difference between regular priority mail and the flat rate system.
Yep.
So I got like hundreds of flat rate, small, medium, and large boxes, and they started piling up in my house so much. I rented a storage unit for all my resale stuff, and I put all the boxes in there, and now I got to send all the boxes back to USPS because in the 2 months that I've been selling, I think I've used one flat rate box, and I've got hundreds of them. So I got to get more space back in my storage unit because I thought that those were regular just priority mail boxes, but now I learned. So
flat rate envelopes and priority mail way different, right, Ben?
Oh yeah, and so people don't use like if it's over 16 ounces for me, particularly like clothing in this case. A lot of people go straight to like the poly mailer, the bubble wrap mailer, which is like I think it's like $7.65 or something to ship a poly mailer. It's around there, right around $8. But you can actually use like a legal flat rate envelope, which is the cardboard envelope, or just a regular flat rate envelope. and a regular flat rate is $6.95.
Yep.
And a legal flat rate's like $7.30. So you're saving a couple. It's not much, but if you're doing it bulk sales like me, I'm sending out, 20 items a day. 20 items times those cents is a couple bucks that I'm saving every time I'm doing it.
That adds up.
Yeah, and then also learn your priorities, like the regional A box and the regional B box. A lot of times those are better than your flat rate boxes. You get a better deal for the weight.
Dang, man, there's a lot to learn, but
yeah,
it's gonna take you. Okay, how long do you think someone's gonna have to do eBay till they get shipping down? A month, 6 months, never?
I think it depends on the amount of sales they're making. If someone's doing eBay for 6 months, but they've only got 10 items in their eBay store and they're expecting their one Coach purse to sell or something, they're never going to learn shipping. Like I actually sold a Dooney and Burke purse recently too, and I was trying to figure out like, man, I don't want it to get messed up, but I could send it first class and only pay, $3.26 shipping, or I could make sure that it's protected and send it priority mail for like, $6 or $7. And I ended up doing a bubble mailer, and then I wrapped it in bubble wrap inside and sent it first class, to save the money, because, I'm just trying to make the extra profit anywhere you can. So I took the risk with that, but I think that I wrapped it well and that it won't get damaged. But I think that the more items that you have, the more sales you make, the more comfortable you get with it. And you just have to learn. It's just like when you start a new job, you know what I mean? You're going to burn a couple of hamburgers, or you're going to whatever, So...
Oh, bro, you're talking my language right there.
Hamburgers. I love hamburgers.
Oh.
But no, I think another thing that scares people off of the whole eBay thing and shipping in general is larger items. Don't be afraid to ship larger items. Like, yes, it's harder to find a larger box, and yes, you're going to have like a scale that will weigh that box and everything. But like usually the large items, so many people get scared away from them that your profit margins are going to be better because there's less competition for those. So like I was saying, like the radio receivers or old VCRs, like the combo players and stuff like that, like they're big items, and typically you want to double box them to make sure they don't break and stuff. But like once you get that down and how to go about that, it just becomes second nature. And don't be afraid to like do a Frankenstein box where you're like cutting up a box, and like it doesn't have to be pretty when it gets there. As long as it's fixed on the inside, you're good.
There you go. And you know what? I've actually talking about shipping to save it. Oh man, I don't know how many times this has happened to you guys where, like you mentioned, Drew, ship it in how it's supposed to be shipped, but lose a little bit of money, or kind of like what is it called? MacGyver. Yeah, MacGyver it and save a few bucks. I remember I got a little snow globe, and to save a few bucks, I sent a flat rate envelope, and honestly, I don't even know if it made it alive. I saved like $3.
Man, you may have to pack that well if you put that in a flat rate.
Oh man,
I would have been nervous sending that one in a flat rate.
Oh, I was, and then I had to drop it into the thing where you put the envelope. What is it called?
Oh man, I would have went straight up to the counter and had them scan it.
Well, they were closed.
Stickles all over it.
I would have waited until they opened.
Well, I haven't had any bad reviews, so hopefully I think it made it.
It probably made it then.
Yeah. So here's a question: should you post the same item on different platforms? Like for example, shirts. You have one. What is it? Outdoor research. Should you post it on eBay, Poshmark, McCarty? Ben, what do you think?
So with my clothing, I love doing clothing. Majority of my sales on my one account are clothing because it's small and easy to store, and I can pack everything into a bin and just.
Hey, and shipping for clothing, I was doing clothing. Yeah. Like you already know $4 for shipping, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and but as far as cross listing goes, I always list stuff on eBay because it has the biggest audience. You want to get your stuff in front of the most people. That's where you go for used items. But Poshmark, if it's like a really good name brand thing that I know, typically women are more on Poshmark right now. It's gearing towards men lately, like getting more and more men's stuff in there lately. But if it's like a name brand item that I know I'll flip really easily on Poshmark, you just gotta learn the brands and stuff. I'll flip on there. Clothing I typically don't do on Macari, but I do cross-list stuff on the Macari from eBay that are hard goods, so electronics and stuff like that, or perfumes I'll do on the Macari or something like that. Yeah.
So you pretty much have to know the platform and how the audience reacts to it. Because I've done Poshmark before, and you're right. It's all about the name brands.
Yep. You'll once you start dabbling in each of the different platforms, you kind of understand what buyers are looking for on those platforms. So like, I don't post my clothing on Macari. Yes, you can sell clothing on Macari, but the sell-through rate isn't as good. So whereas if I'm going to cross-list something, I might as well cross-list my video games instead, because there are people on Macari looking for video games. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get you. And Drew, how about yourself? Do you believe you should cross-promote?
I think if you have the time, you should cross-post everything.
Do you do it?
Yes. Yeah. I even cross-post on Facebook and OfferUp. So, because if I'm selling, like, I bought I'm trying to think of something that I've recently sold, but like I bought a Polaroid camera or something like that, you know what I mean? And I put it on Facebook Marketplace for $25, and then I put it on eBay for $35. Because eBay has the fees, Facebook Marketplace, someone will come to my house and pick it up. I don't have to ship it or anything, so I'll sell it cheaper locally because it's quicker money and I get cash right there.
Have you guys ever had an order sell twice? Like
dude,
the same item selling?
Yes, I have had that.
Oh, I was scared of it. That's why I didn't do it.
So that happened to me today with the issues that I was telling you about earlier. But the reason is because I listed it twice in 2 separate listings, and it was the same pair. It's so crazy. It's the same pair of jeans. I got in one of those auction lots, like Zara Men or something like that. It's like a pretty popular brand right now. And the pictures look completely different. It's so weird because the lighting was different when I took pictures. But I sold the same pair of jeans twice, and the second sale, I was in my storage unit today for over an hour. I looked through every bin of clothing to see if I misplaced it in my inventory system.
Oh, so you couldn't find it?
I couldn't find it, and then I looked on eBay, and I had already sold those jeans, and I couldn't believe it. I was so mad at myself, so I had to issue a refund today to that guy. I even tried offering another pair of jeans that I had in the same size, and he didn't want nothing to do with that. So,
then how about you, Ben?
Yeah, no, I've had that issue. It doesn't happen very often because I'm usually pretty fast now that you can kind of control everything from your phone. So right when something sells and I know it's cross-listed, I tend to go in immediately. But like if something sells overnight while I'm sleeping or something, that's where the problem is, because then you don't have control of it because I'm sleeping. But
what do? You pretty much just have to go cancel one order, right?
Yeah, it's just customer service at that point. Typically, so it comes down to how good you are at your customer service and how to mitigate it with your profits. So like if I sell something on eBay and Poshmark, eBay is I'm gonna save, or I'm gonna get more profit out of it because they only take, it's like 13% or so, and Macari or Poshmark is a flat 20%.
Yeah.
So the profit margin's there. But if I know if I cancel on the Poshmark order because I'm getting less profit margin, the buyer on Poshmark is going to be more picky on that platform typically, and not want to deal with the cancellation, or they'll leave you the bad review. They're more likely to on that from my experience. So I tend to try and cancel the eBay ones more, but you just got to learn how to handle it professionally. Like, hi, sorry, this item wasn't available for sale. This was my mistake. I really apologize for any inconvenience, that kind of stuff.
You got to crime a story. Oh man, I'm having a bad day.
I don't crime a story. You just got to be like, it's no longer available for sale. I'm really sorry for any inconvenience this may have caused you. Please feel free to take a look at my store. If there's anything that you see that you like, I'm willing to work with you on the price because this happened. Something like that.
That's great customer service. I cry on a story. But, so, here's the last question of the podcast.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about eBay? For example, inventory, sourcing, trying to make it grow. Drew, what do you think is the hardest thing about eBay?
Well, I think that it's kind of an open-ended question. There's a lot of different things. I would say.
Okay, how about this? What's the hardest thing you had to deal with on eBay? What's the hardest thing for you on eBay?
On eBay specifically, or just with eBay? because with eBay, I would say just staying organized with your inventory, because a lot of people on like Instagram and stuff do this hashtag called death pile, where they love to go source stuff and find stuff, but they never list it. And then they have this mountain of clothing and stuff.
Oh.
You know, they never
Yep.
fold it, they never organize it into categories or even list it for that matter. And for me, my goal is if I go to a thrift store or a garage sale, I try to take pictures and list that stuff the same day so that I don't get lazy, unless it's like that auction lot where I had like over 1,000 pieces of clothing, you know, and I'm slowly going through it. But I think staying organized is extremely important, because if not, then you know, you make a sale and you're digging through, you know, like what happened with my jeans, you're digging through all your bins, your bags, your boxes, trying to find a pair of boots that you sold or something, and you don't know where the heck they are, and you're losing money because you're spending so much time trying to find it. So staying organized within eBay, I would say probably is making sure that your listings are accurate, because I kind of cheat a little bit a lot. Is I'll go on sold on eBay and I'll just click sell similar item, and then I just upload my own photos and change the shirt size or whatever if it's the exact same product. And there have been a couple of times where like I made a mistake, or I didn't change the color, and the color is red and the shirt says blue.
Something small, right? Like the size,
you know,
small to Excel.
yeah, and then someone will message me and say, like, that happened with me with a Matchbox car that I had listed. It was a die-cast, a 1/64th scale, but I did sell similar item because it was the same driver, and it was a 1/24th scale. And I didn't change it, and so the guy was going to buy it because he thought it was a 1/24th scale. It was actually a 1/64th, so I lost the sale because I wasn't paying attention to the listing. So if you're going to cheat that way and you're not going to create new listing for everything you do, which I don't really recommend if you're just starting on eBay, create your own listings. But make sure that all the information is accurate, because if you send something and you say that it's blue and it's dark blue or it's light blue, and someone's not happy with the fact that you just said it was actually blue, they'll some people are just ruthless. They'll just ask for a refund. You got to pay for shipping to get it back. So, you know, just be as accurate and honest as possible.
I had that situation actually happen to me this morning. I was at Salvation Army and I bought actually it's right here. I bought this Kindle this morning at Salvation Army for $10, and I like to get stuff listed like right away. So I went upstairs and listed it, and I did the sell similar, but I accidentally clicked it on a 7th generation. This is a 6th generation. Luckily, the buyer caught it before I got to the shipping and everything. But he caught it and was like, "Hey, I just noticed this is actually a 6th generation, not a 7th, and you canceled the order." And I was just like, "Yeah." So I had it relisted under the same thing.
And you know what? That's one of the hardest things for me on eBay. Just the listing, taking pictures, measurements, and like as you guys just said, you really gotta do your research to make sure you're listing exactly what you got.
Yeah.
And Ben, what's the hardest thing about your eBay business to you?
So right now I'm starting to hit the problem to where I have my home office and I have everything upstairs in my eBay room, and I have all my shelves and stuff. I'm starting to hit that point where I'm running out of space for my inventory. I also have my basement that I have a few things in, like the larger items and stuff. But the thing that's hitting me the most right now is I'm starting to grow and trying to expand so much, and I'm running it by myself that I'm to the point to where I'm considering bringing someone on to help mitigate some of that. But I mean, like I said, I'm doing a lot of sales. I wouldn't suggest you do that until you have like 1,000 items listed at least. I haven't had to do it yet. I'm just hustling every day doing it myself. But for beginners, the hardest thing when I was starting out, I would say, was making sure when I sell something that it goes out by the shipping date. Don't slack on your shipment. Be like, "Oh, I don't feel like going to the post office today," because you want to make sure you're getting to the post office and doing your shipments, and like you said, listing your death pile, because once that thing builds up, there's no digging yourself out at all. Yeah, I'd like to throw something out. I want to touch on something that you mentioned. Learning what products and stuff to get from various platforms, whether it's your YouTubers that you're watching or your Instagram influencers, stuff like that. Right now, like with the amount of technology we have and the amount of capability to stay connected with people and what's going on and what's staying hot and what's the trends, like there's no better time to hop in this game than right now because there's so much information out there. There's so much going on the university YouTube out here that
yeah,
that you just if you want to try it, hop in, get your feet wet, and follow the people that are trying to guide you because we wouldn't be trying to put this stuff out here if we didn't believe that it was worthwhile, worth doing, and giving you the opportunity to take control of your life and become your own boss because obviously we're doing it right now, but I would love to see more people, not have to do their 9 to 5 job or be able to save up for that extra vacation on the side or something every year because for a lot of people, it's not within their grasp yet, but, maybe running to the thrift store after your work day on Wednesdays or something like that can give you enough income to be able to take your family on vacation that year. Like that's completely doable. And if you guys are like in that boat where you're not sure, just try it and get your feet wet.
I mean, you don't lose anything by just trying it.
That's right.
And
I'd rather try something and know it didn't work out than not try it and wish I had and be regretful.
Yep.
So
that's right. Yep. All right, guys. Drew, Ben, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for being on the podcast. But, Drew, where can people find you?
My personal Instagram is Drew_thrifts and flips. All words, no, not the and symbol. And then my brand or the company that I'm working on is Profit Monsters. So you can find that on Instagram and YouTube. I'm really trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, so I'm working really hard for that. Stuff, so
how many subscribers you got right now?
I'm at like a little under 300. So
oh man, almost, man, almost. How about you, man? Where can people see you?
So my main platform right now is Instagram. I'm uploading stories every day on my Instagram when I'm outsourcing anyways, and uploading pictures of stuff that I'm selling and stuff that I'm finding, so it gives people an idea of what's going on right now. And then I actually just started up my YouTube channel again yesterday. I launched my first video in a while of my $1,000 yard sale pickup this past week. I had to stop YouTube for a little bit because I went traveling and stuff, but I'm back, and that's on both platforms. It's at Ready, Set, Resell.
Ready, Set, Resell. Hey, man, wonderful. Thank you for being on my pack. Wonderful. Thank you for being on the podcast. And, of course, you guys want more free 99 knowledge? Check them out. Link in the description below. See you guys later.
Thank you. Thank you so much.